We're keeping the good winning vibes going here on Tuesday. A lot to break down from the Bears win over the Cowboys. Our guy, Bobby Peters, is going to join us. He knows all about this offense and what Caleb Williams doing well. Plus, a lot going on in Wieners Circle. Our guy was there. You knew Braggs wasn't going to miss that. Show starts right now. CHGO Bears. This is the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Never ordinary on this show.
Never.
As well, or at CHGO for that matter.
Or in Chicago.
Yeah. We got Wieners Circle. Just giving out wieners today.
That's right.
And
Shout
you
out.
Couldn't resist.
Could not. Neither could
Circle.
the rest of the city.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to talk about that.
The grade school I went to is right down the street from there.
Yeah.
So, Wieners Circle's been part of my life for a long time.
It was great.
Yeah. And so it was cool. I'm jealous you were there and I wasn't. We're going to get into that in a little bit. There might even be some hot dogs in here.
Some glizzies.
We'll that whole glizzy thing's new to me. I don't know if I'm on board with that.
Well, that's what they were calling them at Wieners Circle, so respect the circle.
Okay. Respect the Wieners Circle.
Respect the wiener.
That's different. Adam Hoge, Greg Braggs Jr. with you. If you saw yesterday's show, you might be wondering where Carm is. We actually just killed him after yesterday. So, no, he's enjoying the Jewish holiday today. He'll be back tomorrow, unfortunately. A lot to get to on the show today, though, and we are going to have an ODK. We are going to have we got some footage from Wieners Circle we'll show you later. But most importantly, we're jumping right into the show and talking about what's going on with this Bears offense, Ben Johnson's offense, Caleb Williams, how he's adapting, how he's doing in this whole thing. And we thought it'd be great to bring our guy Bobby Peters back to the show. He joined us back in the summer, and he's been studying this Ben Johnson offense for a long time. These books right here we have in front of us, I highly encourage you to go check them out. Going back to 2022, he's breaking down basically the entire system here. And now the offense is here in Chicago, Bobby. So we wanted to bring you on. Thanks for jumping on. And we just want to find out what you're seeing, what's different, what's the same. Are the same things looking different? Are the different things looking the same, as Ben Johnson likes to say and do? Thanks for jumping on with us.
Yeah, of course. Good to talk with you guys. I know we kind of left off last time. I was in studio with you guys. We were talking about expectations, what to expect this first month, and it's kind of been similar to what we were projecting, right? A little bit rocky at the beginning, but then some kind of slow development towards week 3, week 4 here. So, it's good to see. It's good to see progress.
What are you seeing from Caleb's development through 3 games?
So Caleb specifically, week 1, there were, probably 5-6 examples on tape where the first read and the progression's open and he's either getting happy feet or, his eyes aren't in the right spot and he's taken off trying to make something happen. That has not been the case the last 2 weeks. Each week it has steadily gotten better. And, obviously huge caveat, that when I was breaking down the tape of that Dallas defense, they were rough. That's some of the roughest defensive football I've seen at the National Football League level in a while. So obviously huge caveat with that. I'd still like to see a few more weeks now. But as far as Caleb's, progression within the offense, his eyes are in the right spots. His feet are timing up with his eyes, and he's letting the ball rip. And when he lets the ball rip, he's one of the best, most talented quarterbacks on the planet. So that was pretty cool to see it all come together Sunday.
Yeah, and I know you coach the game too, and you're talking about his eyes and his feet and how important that is. Ben Johnson's also talked about how important the pre-snap communication is from inside the huddle before you break, then to getting to the line of scrimmage. And on the Fox broadcast, I think they had some nice overhead shots of Caleb reciting the play. What have you seen from a pre-snap, execution standpoint from Caleb and the Chicago Bears offense?
So same thing. Definitely a lot of improvement, and they seem to be getting the line quicker as the season progresses here. But one thing I did want to touch on that's similar to that is like the weekly game plans. So there was some chatter last week that Ben Johnson may have dumbed down the game plan week 2 for Caleb, and I actually got into it a little bit on Twitter. I think it was like last Wednesday on this. I couldn't disagree with that more. I mean, they had a very specific game plan each week so far this year, and this past Sunday, I mean, they were calling so many different shot concepts down the field. I mean, throughout these 3 weeks, they've run probably a little bit of all the different stuff Ben Johnson called last year with a very experienced quarterback in Jared Goff and somebody who had been playing in Ben's system for 3 seasons now. So any chatter of Caleb not being able to handle the playbook just doesn't line up with what we're seeing on tape.
Well, and I also, this is just my own instinct from covering Ben since he got here. I see no. I think there's a difference between adapting to a quarterback and to what a quarterback does well and doesn't do well versus dumbing things down. I've seen no willingness from Ben to like back off what he wants to do. Like, no, this is what we're gonna do. We're throwing you in the deep end. I don't care how long it takes, but you're gonna get this. And I think that's what we've seen through the first few weeks of the season, when it might have been really tempting for other coaches after what happened week 1 to be like, oh, whoa, we got to slow this down. We got to make things easier for him. I don't see that. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's hard. Ben Johnson has an offense that he knows that he's developed, and with good coaches that have an expansive system like that, you can pull from different parts of the playbook, right? You're not going to, any given year with a quarterback, you're not going to run 100% of all the stuff in your playbook. You might get to 50, 60% of it, right? But it's every quarterback, is different. And then every year you're seeing different stuff from defenses trying to respond to you. So I've seen no handicapping of what Caleb can handle as far as like a play call volume, from a play call volume standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it's encouraging. There's no question. And so I guess from how you saw the Detroit offense progress over these 3 years and now him coming here, I'm just curious, where do you think the Bears are at in that? Because like Ben talked about how this team has more talent than they did when he first started there in Detroit. And so like what stage of the process are we in? Because I feel like with the Dallas game, I think fans finally saw some proof that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Now we're just trying to figure out how long this tunnel goes.
Yeah, no, I think when we look back to his first year calling the offense in Detroit back in 2022, they had a ton of volume in the run game, but the pass game was not limited to a few concepts, but like they kind of, repurposed a concept here or there, like formation, motion type stuff to kind of run the same thing, but give the defense a different picture. Through 3 weeks so far, obviously small sample size, but they've run a ton of volume as far as concepts are concerned in the pass game, and the run game volume's been a little bit smaller. So that's kind of thrown me off a little bit. I thought, trying to, bring Caleb into the fold slowly here, it would kind of be the inverse and kind of like what we saw with Detroit, but that's been the opposite so far through 3 weeks, which is encouraging, right? And that's how we were able to see such a point explosion last week through the pass game, and why Caleb was able to have such a good day. So it's definitely been a little bit different from that, but obviously, we're not running, we're not slamming on the gas, whole playbook right away, right? But there's definitely some room, and honestly, if they're going to sustain offensive success running the ball in Ben Johnson's offense, that's going to be something that they're going to have to improve on.
Is it the running backs? Like, who would you kind of put this on more that needs to step up their game? I'm sure it's a both answer, but when you look at the running backs and the offensive line, who would you identify as the unit that needs to kind of get going a little bit to help this run game get going?
Yeah, I think both. I think it's hard to pin it just on one group. In week 1 especially, I think there are 2 or 3 plays in my head that like where the offensive line is, whether it be, the front side combination is working to, the play side linebacker, but then also the tight end is working to the play side linebacker. So you have nobody for, the down safety in the box, or you have nobody for the backside linebacker or something like that, right? Where like you got 2 guys working for the same second level defender and one of the other guys can run free, right? So obviously that's an offensive line issue. And then, obviously, running backs aren't going to find on zone runs, they're not going to pick the correct hole every single time, right? And then sometimes on gap runs, they might get a little antsy and try to bounce something when they're supposed to just cram it in there and pick up the 4 or 5 they need to. So I think I've seen examples of all that so far on tape.
So I know you have a diagram you wanted to show everybody. I'll let you explain everything, but I know you noticed something from the interception that Caleb threw in week 2 in Detroit to the really impressive throw he had over the middle to Luther Burden against the Cowboys. I'll just let you take it from here and explain what you wanted to explain.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, so after the Detroit game, Kurt Warner posted it was like a 1-minute video on Twitter where he's showing a play. It was Caleb's interception where it looks like there's 3 receivers downfield just kind of running routes into each other. And that's exactly what happened. And it happened twice in the game. And he was talking about how it's terrible play design, and he's talking about how it just doesn't make sense and you got to give your quarterback answers. And yeah, it looked awful on tape. But I'm watching, I'm like, I've studied Ben Johnson for a long time. I've studied, Sean Payton's offenses where Declan Doyle came from. I'm like, this isn't like how this was supposed to be designed. And it was tough because usually you get a busted, a broken play or a busted route, maybe on a concept once in a game. But they called the same play later in the game, and there were 2 guys that busted the route in each instance, right? So I was like, this is kind of strange. So I commented on Kurt's video. I was like, there's no way this could be, somebody busted. And then he said, no, somebody, I saw it twice or whatever. So I was like, all right. So I kind of just filed that into the back of my head. And it's, like I said, that first one was the one Caleb, he ended up nobody was there because the guys, busted their routes. So he's trying to scramble and he ends up making a very dumb decision, just throwing the ball back into the middle of the field, just kind of, chucking it up, seeing what can happen type of thing. And obviously it was intercepted, but this is actually the play shown is on the screen is what it's supposed to look like. And this was the long Luther Burden completion in the 2-minute drill right before halftime. So what they're trying, so we can take a step back and, this is similar. This falls into the high cross concept family. I think we probably touched on this a little bit when I was in studio, a month or 2 ago. And what we're trying to do is create a 3-level vertical stretch to the right side of the field. So you have some sort of vertical clear out route here. It's from the X receiver running kind of like a post, like a corner post cut. You've got Cole Kmet who ends up chipping and ends up as the low receiver. And then you have some sort of intermediate level crossing route coming over. This is something that high schools run, colleges run, all pro teams carry this. But last year, what the Minnesota Vikings did to kind of combat how defenses are playing this concept is included this route from the F receiver, which is what I call a latch route. So what defenses usually like to do to those high crossing concepts is take a weak hook defender and have him run under the crossing route. And they can kind of play 3 for 3 on that side of the field. Well, now this latch route coming from the F receiver is meant to grab that weak hook player. And now we're going to slip that Z receiver behind him at about 18 to 22 yards on that right hash there. And that's exactly what happened in the play. And that's what those plays, those 2 clips against Detroit were supposed to look like. But the Bears were able to correct their mistakes, and Caleb was able to zip this throw into Luther Burden for a huge play in the 2-minute drill. And if you watch the Skycam view of this thing, the replay, I mean, it's an incredible throw because he kind of fits it between 2 Cowboys defenders that are converging on that latch route. And it was in my opinion, one of his most impressive throws of the day. And it was cool to see them correct their mistakes from the week before and not just say, oh, we can't handle this concept. We didn't, we threw an interception on it. We had guys running the wrong routes. No, they coached it up. They got better and they ran it for a big play the following week.
And Bobby, I love that you're breaking this down because I'm picturing this in my head right now. This was a really impressive throw. Help me out. Was it a linebacker or a safety that went down to the underneath crosser?
Offhand, I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but I know exactly what you're talking about, where that F receiver coming in underneath, you'll see, like, as Caleb goes to throw, and I honestly couldn't tell, was he moving that guy with his eyes, or is it just as you explained, which is he's probably just following his defensive rules, and that's where he's supposed to cover. But clearly, as Caleb's looking to unload this throw, that defender, whether it was a linebacker or safety, moves towards the underneath receiver, and that opens up the window for where the throw actually goes. But if you're picturing what I'm saying, and hopefully you can, that is a lot of trust from Caleb to say, when I go to throw this ball, this guy is going to go here and not here. Because if he goes high, that pass can be intercepted. And he doesn't necessarily know what that defender is going to do. So the way I'm interpreting all of this is, Ben Johnson, really good coach, is probably telling him, hey, this is what's supposed to happen. You need to trust it. And if you do, use your God-given arm talent, and it's going to be an incredible throw and catch.
Exactly. And I think part of the, something that we have to talk about with this concept too is it takes a while to develop. That's in a not a typical high cross route. So that route's pushed a little bit deeper, right? And you need that time for that latch route to come across and grab that defender as well. So, you had, I think it was Swift and Kmet were kind of chip protecting, helping the tackles out before getting to their flat routes. Obviously, the offensive line did a great job on that play, holding up in protection. So that's an example of all 11 players executing, as well as the coach drawing up a great concept to take advantage of, how defenses like to how defenses like to cover the base concept.
So what's new? Like, what have you seen so far with a quarterback that Ben Johnson's never really had in Caleb Williams? Obviously a different skill set than Jared Goff, who's a very good quarterback in his own right. But what has been new to you that you've seen that can show the potential of this duo between Ben and Caleb?
Yeah, there's obviously that concept is something particularly new, right? I said, I mentioned the Vikings ran it last year, but they were the only team that I saw on tape run it. And they probably only called it like 4 or 5 times, and they were super explosive with it, which I'm sure is how Bears coaches found it. They're like, hey, this is something we could take advantage of. So that's new. There's a few other stuff without getting too nitty gritty. There's some other stuff that unfortunately I don't have diagrams for yet, but there's definitely been some stuff in the drop back game that they've taken advantage of. But the stuff that I'm really impressed, especially last week, is the stuff that Caleb, the underneath choice routes, the underneath pivot routes that are a staple of the Ben Johnson offense that he really didn't see well in week 1, that he was either overthrowing them or, he didn't want to pull the trigger on a guy being open, as the first read in his progression on those routes. He was making those throws and taking what the defense was giving him, in addition to obviously all the explosives we saw Sunday. So that was, like I said, huge caveat with Dallas's defense. But to see him, his eyes, his feet in the right spots is super encouraging.
What do you feel like still needs to improve here?
So a couple things that jumped out to me are, we saw it last night with Detroit, and especially, St. Brown, is complete wide receiver buy-in in the run game, right? Detroit's wide receivers, the whole group, they just want to mash people. They just want to insert block on down safeties. They want to crack defensive ends. They want to do it all. And I think that's part of the reason this Bears run game, needs, where the run game could be helped out too, is receivers just deciding that they want to kick some ass within the run game. So that's something where on tape, I don't quite, and I'm not picking on just one guy. I see it from a lot of guys. There needs to be 100% buy-in, guys taking better angles when they're digging out, apex defenders, or, if they're on the front side of a run, getting to a play side shoulder on a defender, even if it means they got to bust their butt a little bit harder. So that kind of stuff will help the run game. And that stuff's contagious. We see it for years with the 49ers. When they're, you see Brandon Ayuk blocking 50 yards downfield, picking up a safety on the backside of a run, like that stuff matters. And it gets the whole team excited too. So that's something that I think could really help the run game and something that could be improved. And then, route technique, there are definitely some instances, not so much last week, but week 1 and week 2, where I thought guys were, maybe rounding routes when they shouldn't have been, or, kind of cutting a route, maybe 2 or 3 yards short. Yeah, obviously I don't have Ben Johnson's playbook. I'm just basing it on, what I've seen the last couple of years on tape, where this route usually with Detroit was at 18 yards. Well, whoever it was for the Bears, whether it be, DJ or Rome cutting it off at 16, I'm like, well, that does matter. So stuff like that are probably the two that have jumped out the most, but that's stuff that we've seen them correct a ton of stuff, through the first couple of weeks. And like I said, the route stuff didn't really jump out to me as much week 3. So, and then continued development from Caleb, right? Like I said, we're not going to see guys as open as we saw, against Dallas. So he's going to have to trust these throws and this timing, and have the same anticipation against defenses with tighter windows.
Yeah, it's definitely been encouraging to see this development, stair step in 3 games. And I think Ben talked about it's not going to always just stair step up. There's going to be times where they take a step back. Hopefully that's not this Sunday against the Raiders. So, we talked about, what's new and what needs to get worked on. So what should we be looking for in terms of what's next?
I think, and this has been the fun thing, and this is, through the first 3 weeks, each game plan has been incredibly different, from how they want to attack defenses to where they want to, both in the run and pass game. So just seeing with this coaching staff, how they game plan things going forward is going to be incredibly interesting. And something I'm looking forward to is, obviously, Brian Flores with the Vikings obviously brings a ton of pressure, and he does a lot of crazy stuff on defense. And, what we saw from Eberflus Sunday, was incredibly vanilla, right? It's, the offensive line wasn't really tested in their pass protection rules, and as far as like running backs and tight ends with their responsibilities as well. So how does the offense handle, as we move through the year here, how do they handle teams that want to bring pressure in different ways, more consistently too? That's something that if they can handle that and they give Caleb time, we saw exactly what he's capable of Sunday.
Hey, Bobby, before we let you go here, I was able to just pull up the play that you were talking about earlier and breaking down the diagram. We can't show the video for YouTube reasons, but the screenshot here I think shows exactly what you were talking about. Whoops, I went too far. So if this is that F receiver you were talking about underneath, and this ball is actually going to Luther Burden, who's up here. But if you look at the ball is already in the air. This is that defender you talked about coming in to cover this space. I mean, if I were to just show a random person this screenshot, you'd be like, where's this throw going to? It looks like it's going to DJ Moore.
Yep.
It looks like it's going right here to DJ, when in reality, you go to the next slide, it went over those guys and over that defender to Luther Burden. And that's what I meant earlier, Bobby, and you could take it from here, just kind of like the trust involved in making that throw into that space, knowing that 58 or 59 is coming down instead of going, over the top.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And this is like I was talking about with route depth mattering a ton. Luther Burden being a rookie, in week 3, I mean, that's a route that Justin Jefferson was running for the Vikings, right? That wasn't, one of their slot receivers or somebody. That was the play that, hey, we want to get Jefferson the ball down the field. Let's clear out, let's take the top off, let's control the underneath defenders, and let's get a big play for our guy. So for him to run that route and get to the exact depth that he needs to, which was 20 yards on the hash with DJ at 10 yards, that's the details that matter in Ben Johnson's offense, right? If Burden comes across at 18 yards, okay, now that backer could possibly get his hand up and tip that thing, right? That's not a ton of separation. So that matters.
Bobby, insight is always awesome. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find these books too if they want to get in? And it's not just the Lions. You got books on. I think you did the Packers. You got every offense broken down.
Yeah. I wrote. How many did I write last year? I wrote 8 last year on the top offenses in the NFL. You can find most of my stuff at alertthepost.com. If you're looking for my articles and stuff, if you want to go straight to the books, just Google my name. And it can take you to my Amazon author page as well. And that's where, you can find if you're just looking for the books. And I will tease, if the Bears keep this up, I will most certainly be writing a pretty expansive complete offensive manual on them once the season's over. But they got to keep this up though. I'm not, if they take a nosedive or something, I'm not going to, work through the tape at that point. But I'm remaining pretty optimistic about the direction this is heading in after what I've seen these first 3 weeks.
There you go. There's a challenge to Ben Johnson.
I like
Caleb
it.
Williams.
I like it.
Don't screw this up because we all want to read it.
So far, so good. Yeah. So,
Bobby, thank you, man.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
AlertThePost.com. He does a great job, and people really liked when he joined us back in June, so we thought we'd have him come on to break down what he's seen so far. I also want to break down what you saw at the Wieners Circle earlier, which is also very, very important. We do have more film coming up later with ODK as well. Don't go anywhere, but first. Hey, with the Bet365 early payout offer, you are a winner if your team goes up by 17 points, like the Rams did the other day on the Eagles. You get an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners, so you don't have to worry about the Rams blowing that entire lead and then having one of the worst beats of all time with a blocked field goal at the end of the game that gets returned for a touchdown. Download the app. Use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Hey, Thursday Night Football coming up in a couple days. $10 safety net bet. Sunday Night Football, they have a $365,000 jackpot. Monday Night Football, it's a 50% super boost, profit boost token on same-game parlays. Breaking news from Bet365. Playoff season is here. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use code CHGO365, deposit 10, place a bet for $5. You'll get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
That's right. And got to give a shout out to our good friends over at RC Cola. Let's be real for a second. Adam Hoge, the world has gone soft. Everyone gets a trophy for just showing up. Everything needs to be bubble wrap. Well, soda used to have that kick, and now it's all about pretty colors and easy fizz. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola. It's the original cola that doesn't fold under pressure. RC is an OG cola in a world of spineless soft drinks. So do yourself a favor, grab some RC at your local store, stock up on all your end of summer parties, back to school celebrations, or just watching the game at home. RC is the move for whatever you're doing, including watching the Chicago Bears beat the Raiders.
All right. We are presented by Bet365 here.
All day.
And you were at the Wieners Circle earlier.
Yep. I'm presented by good times and good vibes, and there was no shortage of that today on the north side of Chicago.
Let's roll the tape. We got, it was raining earlier, which
it rained for about 20 minutes, but we made it work.
Look at the crowd, though.
This was the early crowd. As I was leaving, this line was doubled what it is here. Wow. And this was before they opened at 11. And it rained for about 25 minutes. Kind of hard for a minute. So shout out to everybody that toughed through it. But, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it's just like one of those – this is just such a pure Chicago moment. Like it's just such a – this is football season kind of Chicago vibes.
So they were, I believe, first of all, shout out to Wieners Circle, Chicago institution.
Yep.
If you haven't checked it out before, check out like when Conan O'Brien went there with Triumph, the insult comic dog.
Yep.
Back in the day. That must have been, like almost 15 years ago at this point. Easy. Marshawn Lynch went there with Thursday Night Football a couple years ago. There's just it's hilarious, but for them to just I think Vienna Beef ended up helping them out,
right? Because to explain, before the game on Friday, I believe they put out a tweet that said if Caleb Williams throws 4 touchdowns, free hot dogs on us, free glizzies on us, as they say. And
when did this glizzy thing start?
It's been a few years in the making, so. Yeah, and
for me, it's a Chicago style hot dog.
Yeah, well, they're glizzies. That's what they call it. Just any hot dog, not just Chicago style. Kids, whoever, Wieners Circle, and so
if I go in there and order a glizzy, they're gonna yell at me.
No, they won't. They're gonna yell at you no matter what.
Okay.
Anybody walking up today was getting the famous Wieners Circle treatment. It's like, it can be pretty funny some of the stuff they say, but. So they say if Caleb Williams throws 4 touchdowns, free hot dogs on us. And Caleb had 3 in the first half, almost had 4.
He could have had 5 in the game.
Right. Rome drops one, and it's like, then you get to the end, and there it is, on the 4th down conversion. And there it is. The Wieners Circle saves the city. It was pretty cool.
So if you head over there, they're going to be giving up free hot dogs, 1 per customer all day long until they run out.
I did hear a secret that at 2 o'clock, apparently at 2 p.m. Central, some special guest is going to be there. I doubt it's Caleb Williams because I'm pretty sure they're practicing.
No, we went through this last week.
They're not practicing.
Tuesday's
Tuesday's off day.
Ben Johnson does not talk today.
So it could be Caleb. I did hear a secret being passed around that potentially a special guest would be there at 2. Maybe it would be Caleb. This is totally a Caleb vibe moment, so I could see him there. But I don't know. That's just what I heard. It's not a guarantee. Just hearing things through the grapevine.
Well, that would be good PR. I would think.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Wieners Circle had a message for Caleb, didn't they?
Yeah.
We're gonna play that.
As they do.
Greg asked if they had a message for Caleb Williams, Bears QB1. Here is that message.
All right, what's the message to Caleb Williams?
Keep hitting those touchdowns. We need a Super Bowl.
Keep hitting those touchdowns.
That's right. Hey, like I said, shout out to Wieners Circle, bringing the vibes of the city. Cubs are in the playoffs here next week. Bears win. free hot dogs. You got the line going all the way around the block when I was leaving. Like I said, the video doesn't even do it justice. That line is 3 times as long right now. So it was great. So
Are you going to give me a hot dog or
I
not?
brought hot dogs for the family.
Let's go.
And so I'll take this one because it was already a little open.
Put your computer away.
Yeah, no,
you already
it's okay.
dropped
Here
a
we
pepper
go.
on it.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Not the first time I've dropped food on this. Steven, you want one here? Well, get over here then. Come on, let people see your beautiful legs. So shout out to the Wieners Circle, and shout out to all of you, and shout out Caleb Williams. Nice work.
This is what I'm talking
Getting the
about.
touchdown.
Chicago-style
Move this-
char dog. They do them differently in Wieners Circle. They're charred.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a great day to be a Chicagoan. Free dogs. Thank you, Caleb Williams. So,
All right. Who's going to challenge Caleb to throw 4 touchdowns this week? And what kind of free food can we get next week?
I want like a Portillo's Italian beef, maybe.
Portillo's? Let's step up Portillo's.
Pequods.
Bears fans, we deserve this as Chicagoans.
We do. We
We
really
don't get
do.
to see our quarterback throw for 4 touchdowns very much. So when it happens, we should get free lunch on Tuesdays. The whole city, every week.
Taco Bell. You know. Come on, guys. This is great. And this is what we need, man. I've been so depressed the last few weeks. And now I'm eating Victory Glizzy.
RPM steak, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Chicago cut. Get some real steaks going.
It's just nice to win one for once. It's just nice to have a hot dog and enjoy the Chicago Bears and a Victory Glizzy.
You know what goes well with this, by the way?
What's up?
It's RC Cola. It's just damn good cola. This is a damn good Chicago-style char dog, too.
Mark really missed out.
Yeah. Too bad. We're going to take another break. We'll be right back, though. We have ODK. We're going to break down more. And actually, I got something on the offense, the defense, and the kicking this time around. It's not just one of them. So, true 3-phase ODK coming up next. But first.
Sounds lovely.
Hey, if you're lost in your finances, check out Monarch Money because you can feel organized and confident in your finances with Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or on your phone. And right now, just for our listeners, Monarch is offering 50% off your first year. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does all the heavy lifting. Link all of your accounts in minutes and get clear data visuals, smart categorization. I screw that up every time. Categorization. One of these times, categorization of your spending and real control over your money. You don't want to leave money on the table. Monarch isn't just another finance app. Check it out right now. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code CHGO.
That's right, Adam Hoge. Big words are hard. And you know what else is hard?
Yeah.
Finding good tickets on
Especially
the
this
secondary
weekend.
market.
Especially this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. And finding secondary tickets on the secondary market, not easy. Well, the Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included. What you see is what you pay. It is the most transparent secondary ticket app you will find. So take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
Still recovering over here. That was good. Thank you, Wieners Circle.
Shout out RC.
Yeah. Yeah, that worked. That was pretty good. All right. Should we get serious again?
What a lovely
Actually, that was
day.
serious.
That was serious.
That was very
The most serious segment we've ever had.
I'm just glad Carm's not here to enjoy it.
Me too.
He really got me going yesterday with this. I mean, it might take me a couple days to recover from that nonsense.
No one will ever know that it fully
the real extent
started
of it.
pre-show meeting. Like he was twisting.
I snapped.
the knife
Greg,
on
you
me a
would have
little
been
bit.
proud.
I don't blame you. He's annoying.
We should start filming. We should start filming some of those pre-show meetings.
I have that as an idea for our YouTube, our CHGO Supporters Club members.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's going to be one of the behind-the-scenes videos is a day in the life of a CHGO Bears meeting,
Oh, boy.
which is interesting, to say the least.
It is. Today was very normal. I wonder why.
It's weird.
Yeah. All right.
Curious.
ODK. What does it stand for?
Offense, defense, and kicking.
I was worried for a second there.
I honestly thought he didn't know. So I
Yeah.
was worried. All right, let's get into it. We'll start with the offense. This is the White House flea flicker play. And just wanted to show there's a lot of different things that happen here on this play. First of all, they start in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. Tight ends are here. Who are the wide? I mentioned this on yesterday's show, but who are the wide receivers with only 2 on the field? DJ Moore and Roma Dunes, they are actually off the field on this play. They're on the sideline. Olamide Zacchaeus and Luther Burden. You got 10 up here. Of course, this is ultimately where the ball goes to. So defensively, this is what you would call an unscouted look, even in week 3. You talk about that a lot in week 1. Well, here you are in week 3. If you're the Cowboys here, you're Matt Eberflus, you're probably going, what is going on here? Right? 2 best wide receivers aren't even on the field.
Right.
I think your antenna would probably have to go up a little bit on what is about to happen here on this play. This could be a Ben Johnson special. They're going to shift, though, from 12 personnel. That's still technically 12 personnel, but it's really now 21 personnel because you put Cole Kmet in the backfield as like an extra fullback. So you 2 guys in the backfield, still have the other tight end here. And ultimately, we know what happens because this ball is going to go to Luther Burden, who has to set this whole thing up, right, by going slow and kind of slow playing this like he's going to go to block the safety, when in reality, he's going to go north and catch the go ball from Caleb Williams. So this is where things got a little crazy, obviously, with the protection up front. We'll show that a little bit closer in a second. But again, Luther Burden, he's got to sell this. This is one of the biggest details of this play, is slow playing this, making sure that he gets past the corner here, but really his eyes are on the safety. Like, hey, we're running a run play, of course. I'm blocking. Same thing with OZ down here. I'm blocking. I'm not doing anything else. We're just blocking up a run here. This is the moment where DeAndre Swift goes to flip this backwards to Caleb, and you can see things are getting a little hairy up front. Believe it or not, a rare moment where Joe Thuney gets beat.
Yep.
And I wanted to point out a really nice job here from Braxton Jones. Might have gotten away with a little bit of a hold or a tug here, but he's realizing his teammate to his right is getting beat here a little bit, and there's no doubt the flip back here too also helps. But at this point, this play could have been blown up in the middle, and that is ultimately, and the tape did confirm, is why the flip back to Caleb Williams was a hand grenade.
Because of the player that got through hitting Swift's arm.
That D lineman hit Swift, really just kind of everything got pushed
Which I kind
back.
of liked it because then it was just more dramatic. It made the play more fun with the high flip.
Yeah. That's one way to look
Sure,
at it.
Ben
Yeah.
lost a few days on his life from it, but I thought it was more dramatic that way.
But a little bit of an assist here to Braxton Jones because he does help hold up that lineman. And here's the moment where Caleb actually goes to throw. All of a sudden, you got a pretty good pocket here again.
And look at DeAndre Swift, because to me, he's the biggest key on this play. Gets hit on the flip back, still is able to get it out of his hands to Caleb, and then able to turn around and get a block down, a crucial block.
Yeah.
The guy arguably closest to Caleb Williams is able to turn himself back around and make maybe the key block on the play for Caleb to stand in there and fire that thing down the field.
DeAndre Swift bounced back very strong in pass protection in this game. He struggled in Detroit, and he was much better this week. And I'm sure he was hammered all week long because Eric Bieniemy really cares about that. So that's a great point by you on this play as well. And I also just love the play design because, like, okay, if things go crazy, I just notice Cole Kmet's here underneath too. Like if Burden didn't sell his fake well enough and he's not wide open, there are other answers built into this. Sometimes with flea flickers, especially at lower levels, but even in the NFL, it's kind of like an all or nothing play. And the nothing is a sack or a fumble because, all hell broke loose. So, and it was close on this one, but it ended up being okay. I also just wanted to point out, so this is that same moment.
And I'm sorry to go back, but that's Smythe on the end blocking, or is that Loveland?
I think Loveland was still in at this point. Okay. It might be Durham Smythe.
Well, that was a good block out there, too, because that guy wasn't moving.
Yeah. But this is the same moment where the ball's being pitched backwards to Caleb, and I just wanted to point out like how well Burden did in selling this, because this is also the exact moment where he had throttled down here, right, to sell the block. This is the exact moment where he's going to accelerate and go.
Look at Zacchaeus, too.
Yep. And you can see, though, this defender, he's already moving in, so he's got him beat. And same thing here with this safety. He's moving forward. So at this moment, there's just no way that he's going to be able to recover and get back to Luther Burden with his speed. So really well done by Luther Burden. Let's move to the defensive side of things. And there's a little nugget in here. It has to do with something Lance Briggs talked about the post-game and on yesterday's show. But I just kind of wanted to show you, even defensively, some of the stuff you have to put up with. All the things that can happen pre-snap with what offenses are doing these days. So this is how the Cowboys originally lined up on what ends up being a run play. This ends up being a 7-yard gain for Javonte Williams. But you can see Dak Prescott here. He's signaling. He's changing the play. He sees a look here, and he's going to actually call the tight end over. See, now he's moved the tight end for extra protection in here. And watch now, this cat and mouse game, because Noah Sewell, he's playing Mike linebacker. He's pointing, okay, now we got this tight end. And he's actually yelling this way, and Daniel Hardy's recognizing it. Also, another wrinkle I wanted to show you, because the Bears have 5 linemen in. And this is something we saw in this game with Daniel Hardy coming in. So the Cowboys are in 12 personnel, but instead of going base with 3 linebackers, remember they're missing T.J. Edwards in this game. We saw this starting in the spring. Daniel Hardy was getting reps at linebacker. He's also he's been a defensive lineman. Well, how are they going to use this guy who's primarily a special teamer? Well, this is a package where we saw this as kind of an extra lineman who's in between playing linebacker, in between playing defensive end. And so now Dak Prescott's sorting all this out. He's seeing Noah Sewell figures this out. Well, guess what? He's going to change it again. So now, I mean, this just goes to show you when you get to the line of scrimmage, all the different things you can do, because now
how important it is to get to the line of scrimmage with enough time to play this, have this dance.
Right, because he saw Noah Sewell, saw this. Now I'm going to change it again. Now he's changed the play or made checks twice. What's going on? And then this I noticed too. Zoom in.
Yep.
See that? The finger? We're running this thing that way. So they obviously I don't know the Cowboys playbook, but they might have a naked pitch where he can go left off of this, depending on maybe where the linebacker to the backside of the play is lined up. That wouldn't surprise me. But clearly he's signaling this is the Javon. I doubt the blockers at this point know what they're doing. They're going this way, right? So, but there's got to be some type of naked off of this where maybe he pitches it back to Williams, but instead he goes, nope, we got the numbers this direction. We're going to the right. So this is all before the ball's been snapped. It's super interesting. And then this is what I wanted to show you from what Lance was talking about. Up front, you got your lineman being doubled here. So what he was talking about is so important. You got to read your keys if you're the linebackers and get down, and the safety too. Get down into these gaps to fill when they're going to be doubled. That's all fine, but I guarantee you the reason why there's a little bit of hesitation, obviously, too, is because at any given point they can go play action on you. And they don't hand this ball off. Now you got Dak going on a naked, and if these guys have come downhill that hard, that's where they suck you in and they kill you on play action. So it's easier said than done, and it's even harder than when this was a double team, but now this lineman's actually moved up off the lineman to the linebacker, and now these gaps are all filled up. Really, I think the only thing that and Daniel Hardy's doing a good job here of setting the edge, forcing this run back into the inside. So it's a well-executed play by the Cowboys. Sometimes you just got to say, hey, this is well-executed pre-snap, post-snap. Maybe Jaquan Brisker could have gotten in here faster and filled something up. And now this is going to be kind of hard to see, but this is a good job by Daniel Hardy getting off his block. He set the edge. He's now trying to tackle Javonte. Javonte takes him for a ride, though, because
he saw way too much of in this last game.
That's the thing. Like, somewhere in here, Noah Sewell needs to get off his block, or I think Brisker's actually in the right gap. I don't know that for sure, but maybe he comes back in here. It's just someone's got it. And really probably the biggest problem is this is Dominic Robinson now. I should circle him in red so you can see him better. He's pushed back now, 4 or 5 yards at that point. So someone's just got to get off a block a little bit better and stuff that up. But also, sometimes you got to give credit to your opponent for making a good play. This was a well-executed run play by the Cowboys, and Javonte Williams takes Daniel Hardy for a ride. They pick up 7 yards.
Yeah. I mean, and that was, I mean, we saw this throughout the game last week. The Bears just have to, once they get that point of attack and you make that contact, you can't be giving up 6-7 more yards after contact. Too much of that last week.
Absolutely. All right. Kicking game. I mentioned this.
Boy.
I mentioned this on Twitter. And I just wanted to show it. So on the right is what we would call your traditional pro-style punt. Okay. Really in the NFL, this is what you see 99.9% of the time. You see these tight splits. That's how it normally looks. On the Bears' first punt, and I went back and checked all of them. This is the first time the Bears have shown this all season. What you're seeing on the left is a rollout style punt. So you've brought the extra wing to this side. Notice how the splits are way wider.
Yep.
Okay, so you're kind of spreading this thing out a little bit more. You still have the personal protector here. But what you're also going to notice as I go to the next frame, the angle the punter takes. So Torrey Taylor, coming from Australia, you see a lot of rugby-style kicks with these guys, and I like the rollout because it can buy you time, too. If they don't rush hard, a lot of times, so his angles, he's going to come out here. It's a rollout, obviously. And if they're not rushing hard, you can just hold on to that ball a little bit. You can let your coverage get downfield. Buy that time. That's why I'm a big fan of this. Surprised you don't see more teams do it. On the downside, well, here, with the pro style, you're just going to come more right up the middle and kick over your snapper, typically right up the middle. But as we go to the second, this is at the kick point on both of these punts. So if we go to this rollout, the problem is this would have worked just fine, but Scott Daly actually got beat pretty bad by number 94, and this thing nearly got blocked, which was scary. So he didn't really have the time you would have thought. But remember, Torrey Taylor started over here. He's kicking over here. So you get that rollout, that extra protection to this side with Cole Kmet lining up over there. Just a different style of punt. I'm curious to see if the Bears, who've been having some issues in punt protection, they've already had one blocked. They had another. This one nearly got blocked, and they had another one in this game where Roschon Johnson had to tackle the guy and had a holding penalty, or that one would have been blocked. This has been an ongoing issue with the Bears.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you say when you're rolling the punter out like that then the blocks have to hold longer? So isn't that more dangerous for if the protection's been a problem?
Yes and no, because, I mean, yes, in theory, But by widening it out and giving up a different look, you can also be buying yourself more time to kick. I know it's kind of hard to explain, but yes, it's just as important for the blocks to hold. But you're giving the punter the option to look at what's happening in front of them. If the protection's breaking down quickly, you can kick it quicker. Otherwise, if you feel like, and you're also reading keys, because you're always reading, are they coming after this kick, or are they going for a return where they're not really rushing? And that, a lot of times, you have to identify pre-snap. Yes, Steven?
I noticed two different positions of the field here with two different styles of kick. Does Torrey Taylor have a better chance of getting more distance on this rollout type kick? Because like right now they're pinned in the back of the end zone or near it at least. Does he get more distance with? I mean, you've seen him more in training camp.
That's a personal thing. I mean, that's some kick. You know, some punters can't do this at all. These rugby style kicks. Some to me in general, the rollout rugby style is more helpful if you're trying to kick away from a returner and trying to go more for direction and maybe get it out lower where it bounces. The one on the right, and this has just happened to be the one I picked, really for no other reason, but you could see he's kicking from midfield. So I think this is the one he actually got inside the 10, where he kicked it, and you could see him angling this one a little bit more this way because he ended up going towards the sideline with it. But again, he caught this one here. He's just going straight ahead. That's a more traditional, just straight up pro style punt. So I just wanted to show that they have this in their bag. We saw this a bunch in camp. It's the first time we saw it in the game, so I just wanted to show it to everybody. You might not even notice it in the game, but keep an eye on it going forward because they'll either continue to roll with it, or maybe because it almost got blocked, they'll just ditch it altogether. Yeah. So there's your ODK for week 3.
Very good.
The crowd goes wild. The crowd goes wild. All right.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it was.
It's good stuff.
Did you fall asleep in the middle of all that?
No, I mean, special teams, just like at training camp.
We lost you at kicking game.
Once we get
You're more of an OD guy,
Yeah.
not ODK?
Yeah, that's right. OD.
Yeah.
Old Dominion. That's right. I just got word that Caleb's dog Supa is at Wieners Circle, so maybe
Wait,
18's
the
gonna
dog's
show.
there?
The dog's there.
Well, how'd he get there?
Who brought the dog?
Maybe he just found his way there, like homeward bound.
He just smelled his way.
I don't know.
Caleb said, I gotta go work out. I'll meet you at Wieners Circle?
Could
to
be.
his dog?
Could be.
Okay.
Interesting stuff.
That is interesting stuff. All right. A couple other notes before we get out of here, and I wanted to do an early look at the Raiders as well. Before we do all that, we are going to, as I just turned into Mark Carman for a second.
I was going to say.
I know. Jesus, that was scary. We'll take our last time out here. We'll come back. There's a team that's gone full Bears, and we need to talk about it. So that's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Branded Bills. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. Looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd? Well, I know Adam Hoge and Adam Johns did with their awesome Hoge and Johns hat. Branded Bills had them covered with the best custom headwear you can find. Start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need for you and your fans. They have a partnership with with 40 colleges, including 10 Big Ten schools. Ohio State, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan State, Penn State, USC, and of course, the Purdue Boilermakers. So head to brandedbills.com and use the code BBCHGO for 15% off your first order. Branded Bills, they're the absolute best in the business.
It's like that hat right over my shoulder here. Branded Bills hat.
I had a Branded Bills hat at Medina. I don't know if you heard, but I've been to Medina. Played there. Shot in 87.
Unbelievable.
Twice.
Hey, Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake is slashing prices on new cars, giving you big savings all month long. Come in today to shop the model year-end sales event and drive home with employee pricing on every new Chevrolet model. How about this? You can get $3,000 to $11,000 off MSRP. Check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. And with one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you because they're able to keep their prices competitive. So you know you're getting a great deal. Plus, Raised Price Promise lets you shop confidently. The price you see is the price that you pay. Don't miss out on their model year-end sales event going on all month long for employee pricing on every new Chevrolet model. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. All righty. Couple things I got to tell you about. One is this is still Big Brothers Big Sisters month here at CHGO, and this week instead of donations, we're encouraging people to sign up to become a big. So please consider it. It's this costs you nothing. It just costs you some time, but it's very, very rewarding. And we are celebrating Big Brothers Big Sisters all month long here across our ALLCITY network. So go to bbbs.org/ALLCITY for more information if you are interested in becoming a big. And we also debuted this month our YouTube memberships, which I always need to go to our guy Steven to help explain.
Yeah, we have 2 different membership levels. We have our MVP level and our Hall of Fame level. I pinned a link to join in the chat. What's interesting about the Hall of Fame level right now is I just put out a video over the weekend. It was our CHGO Bears blooper reel. So if you become a Hall of Fame level member, you could watch our blooper reel, and it is embarrassing for all of us.
Wait, so there's secret videos out there?
There is secret videos out there. I believe you could see like the thumbnail and the headline of the video if you're not a member, but you can't watch it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Hall of Fame member.
If you're a Hall of Fame member, you could do that. And if you're an MVP member, you could get access to all of our different emojis. The more members we get, the more emojis we drop, and then you could use those in our chat. I've seen quite a few today. I know Philip Averill was using some of them and a few others.
That's awesome.
Very interesting.
All right. I had to laugh today when I saw that Jackson Dart is going to be starting for the Giants. Russell Wilson's been benched because this has been the most predictable outcome for the New York Giants from the moment that they decided to keep Joe Shane and Brian Daboll last year. You could just see where this was going. And it's just, the Bears have done this twice. So many other teams have done it. It is the most predictable. It stuns me, though, that these teams, these organizations keep going through this cycle, because easily could have made the argument that the Giants should have blown this up last year. They didn't. Now they're basically going into a season where you feel like the most predictable thing is that they're just going to be fired after this season. You still give them the keys to the draft, though, to go out and use a first-round pick on a quarterback. And at that point, they do exactly what the Bears did, because not only did they bring in Russell Wilson, they also signed Jameis Winston, who's standing there on the bench too. So this is the same thing the Bears did, where they had Nick Foles and Andy Dalton
With Justin Fields.
right? And the first time it wasn't 2, but they signed Mike Glennon, and then they drafted Mitch Trubisky. And in both cases, Mitch Trubisky started after 3 games. Mm-hmm. They went to Mitch. Well, here are the Giants. They're 0-3. We're going to make this switch. The Glennon thing / Russell Wilson thing's not working. The second time, Dalton got hurt, so that changed things up a little bit. Was that week 2 or 3 then that I remember we were in Cleveland.
Right.
Was the disastrous Justin Fields
It was
game.
probably week 3.
Yeah. But the point is, at that, you draft a first-round quarterback, that guy's going to end up playing at some point. It's just, no matter what they say, that's where last year I respected the Bears for at least avoiding all that nonsense. We could certainly say in hindsight, was Caleb ready? Should he have been the starter? Obviously, we've learned some things behind the scenes since then. Whatever. At least the Bears were, from the very start, they were like, he's our starter. This is how it's going to be. We're riding and dying with Caleb. We're not going to do any of this veteran nonsense. Now, they went too far the other way, where they didn't even have a veteran in the quarterback room, which was a mistake. But now you just see where this thing's going with the Giants. They're 0-3. I actually like Jackson Dart. I'm going to be intrigued to watch him play. But it's everybody can see where this Giants thing is going. Make sure you become a diehard. Sign up right now, allchgo.com/diehard. You can scan that QR code on the screen as well. Tomorrow we'll have our insider analysis column coming out. Adam Johns and myself working on that today. It'll be out there tomorrow morning for diehards, and that's just one of many, many million things you can get as we head to overtime.
Let's do it.
A couple other nuggets I had just before we get out of here. Just thought we'd do an early look at the Raiders, who I had a chance to look at. You know, it was interesting because they played the Commanders. Those are the Bears' next two opponents.
Right.
It's a few weeks away from the Commanders, obviously, because there's the bye week in the middle. But some early thoughts. It's not a good look for the Raiders. You look at the final score. Jaden Daniels didn't play, and it looks like he just got blown out by Marcus Mariota. I think there's some added context to that. One is they were coming on a short week. They played on Monday Night Football in a tough divisional game, which they were competitive in. It's not an excuse, but I think a lot of people could have pointed to this game and been like, you kind of see it coming with the Raiders. Short week, flying cross country, playing Washington. Their special teams has been a problem. This was actually a closer game than probably people realize. It was like
10-10 at one point.
It was 10-10 for a while. And then going in and out of halftime, I always talk about middle eight. Bears did really well middle eight against the Cowboys. The Raiders had a disastrous middle eight. They gave up a touchdown, they gave up a field goal, and then they gave up the kick return touchdown coming out of halftime. Special teams has been a problem for them. Excuse me. Defensively, they still have Max Crosby. Insanely good blue chip player. They also have Max Crosby. And Max Crosby.
And that's it.
And that's about it defensively. Their linebackers, they signed a bunch of just sort of veterans that they signed late. They haven't been special at all. So point is, this is either a rat line or just the wrong line. And I haven't checked it this morning, so I don't know if it's moved. I feel like it will move in the Bears' favor. But I don't understand why the Raiders are favored by 1.5. I'm surprised by that. I think now I get it. They're probably pointing to all the injuries the Bears have on their defense and maybe not trusting Caleb Williams and his offense quite yet, but at least on the side of the ball where it's the Bears' offense versus the Raiders' defense this week, I think it's a good time to be playing this team going into the bye. I think the Bears can keep a lot of this offensive momentum rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I think this is a big opportunity for them on the road. I just want to highlight this because I think Blake Hudson right here, Steven, I think this is a great line here from Blake here in the chat. He says, we don't just have a modern offense. We have an innovative offense. The 19-play drive is proof of concept. Make the same things look different and different things look the same. And based off of talking to Bobby Peters earlier and looking at ODK and now talking about how they can attack the Raiders, that 19-play drive, to run the ball 11 times in a row in the fashion that they did with a team in the Bears that are struggling to run the ball, but yet find a way to run it 11 times in a row successfully, I think speaks to what he's talking about there in terms of proof of concept.
Did you hear what Ben Johnson said yesterday? He's like, I didn't even realize it was 19 plays, and I didn't even realize I called 11 straight runs. He's like, I found out about that after the game. That, to me, is an indication of a play caller that is really calling the game in front of him. He's reacting on a play-to-play basis off what the defense is doing, what his team's doing, and what the correct call should be next. Plays on plays. The Bears have had too many offensive coordinators that just come in and are like, this is our system, this is what we do, and this is what should work. Not what will work.
Yep.
And Ben is just going every single game. Bobby talked about it earlier, and Ben said it since he got here. We're having a different game plan every week. It's going to be the game plan for that week that works against that opponent, and then within that game plan, he's going to call what's working in the moment or what he thinks. Now, that being said, do we have this, Steven? I thought this was super interesting because he was asked about Caleb's mobility, which is something he hasn't had as a play caller in this league. He has not had a quarterback that can move like Caleb? And he gave a super interesting answer when that was brought up yesterday.
It's fun. I think I don't have to be perfect as a play caller, and I've always tried to be that, to where you get the primary receiver open the majority of the time. And I don't feel that necessity anymore. It's just he has a way of, if number one's open, he'll take it, and we're getting to where he's progressing to 2 and 3. But if we need to escape or extend that, it's his natural playmaking, and that's the balance that we want to strike, and that changes every week what that balance looks like. But I think we're really finding out a lot about each other, because he's learning what my expectation is as well. But I think he's doing a good job understanding when it breaks down a little bit what he can do to ad lib.
I really think that lets you in to the mindset of both, Ben Johnson, the coach, and Ben Johnson, the play caller. I don't feel like I have to be perfect as a play caller. And him saying that in the past, he really, even in Detroit, felt like he had to be the person who was scheming open the number one in the progression. Right. And now he feels like he has a little bit more leeway, because he knows if things break down, Caleb can still keep a play alive and go play hero ball. Now, you don't want him to play too much hero ball. You want it to be something he can do if he absolutely needs to, not something he does because he knows he can do it.
Right, and I think the fourth down, play at the end of the 19-play drive is a perfect example of that. Mm-hmm. How many times are you spying Jared Goff, right? How many times are you going to quarterback spy? I mean, just
never.
Not that much, especially in a red zone situation like that. That takes one defender away from the secondary coverage that you're looking for in that moment. You spy, 3-man rush. He's able to escape the pocket, get, a little pressure around the edge, and that brings the defenders all towards Caleb, and DJ Moore's wide open. And, you'll have the detractors of Caleb Williams go, well, all his touchdowns were wide open receivers. That's all Ben Johnson. No, that play was all Caleb Williams, And so I think that's to the point of what Ben's talking about there, where he doesn't have to be a perfect play caller. When you got a guy that has that kind of ability, and where the defense has to respect his legs, that's going to create opportunities that he, as a play caller, may not have had before. And it's going to be exciting here. That's why I'm talking with Bobby, what is he going to be able to figure out as we go along? Oh, this is how I can see this is how I can anticipate the defense reacting because of this, and now draw plays. Because we saw it with Stumblebum. We saw it with the Luther Burden White House flea flicker. There's going to be opportunities here going forward now where Ben Johnson is going to be able to identify how defenses anticipate and react to Caleb Williams and use that against them to create plays to open up big explosiveness. And I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. It's going to be a fun weekend, and it's a big opportunity for the Bears. A lot of Bears fans going to Vegas. We're going to Vegas. Get the good vibes back. Going into a bye week with a road game in Washington looming. Nothing could go horrible in that situation.
Nothing.
Why did the schedule makers do that again? This is mean.
They know exactly what they did.
And they put it on Monday Night Football on top of it. So we have to wait what's going to feel like 8 weeks for the next game after this week. So, all right, well, we'll have you covered as always. Tomorrow, back to work Wednesday. Bears will be back to practice. I'll be at Hallis. Carm will be here with Braggs. I'll join you guys with everything that's going on at Hallis Hall. Caleb Williams.
It's exciting.
It'll be good. Right
we
back
get
into
whiteboard
it.
wasted in a couple days.
I'm after last week's comment about how boring it was. I think I might actually do this one wasted.
That would be interesting.
They're not boring.
Oh, real quick.
They're very good.
What time does the injury report come out tomorrow? Because I'm going to be hawkeyeing to see, is Kyler Gordon practicing in any capacity?
Practice should be over at about 3 o'clock.
Okay.
It's interesting you bring that up because I guess it's not. Yeah, so because if he misses, it would make a lot of sense to have Kyler miss another week. get the extra time with the bye week. But then again, they never put him on IR. So
The reason I ask is from what the Raiders have done through 3 weeks, they're doing almost all their damage out of the slot, whether that be Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, or even Brock Bowers.
yeah,
And, you know, we said it in the offseason, Kyler Gordon's one of the best slot corners in the league, if not the best. And him also playing a little closer to the line, which he likes pressing a little bit with Genty in that run game, I think it's so important for him to play.
yeah. That seems like a long shot, though. I will say that. We'll see, though.
All right, it ruined my day.
Sorry.
Yeah,
It's just,
I'd rather
he
be
hasn't
honest.
done anything. I hope he's back. But I think they also learned from the Jalen Johnson thing. You don't want to rush it. Don't want to rush it. All right. Hope you enjoyed the show. I enjoyed the hot dog. I know that.
It's great.
Appreciate Bobby Peters joining us. Appreciate all of you guys joining us. Please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe. Busy day here at CHGO. We have a Blackhawks postgame show tonight.
Wow.
Which is why I wore my Hawks hat today. It's preseason hockey. We're ready to go. We don't get to play the Red Wings as much anymore. So now we
Preseason
got
hockey. Cubs play the Mets tonight. They got what? Their magic number is 4 to clinch home field throughout the wild card series, which starts next week. We're going to have playoff post-game shows here at CHGO for the CHGO Cubs team next week. Hockey's back. Bears are on a winning streak of 1, maybe 2. Free hot dogs in the city.
it's a streak for the Bears.
It is like the vibes are just vibing right now. It's an exciting time.
I appreciate everybody concerned about my desk.
Carm's not here.
There's a new guy named Max that works here. You can ask him about my desk.
Desk swipe. It's all right.
Yeah. Or the last social
We
media
can-
intern that took my desk said
we
no
can
longer
fight
works
back.
here.
We can fight back and go and take the desks back. Take them all.
What if we just moved them?
Yeah.
That could be a YouTube members video. Stealing back Hoge's desk.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
I say we do it.
Also, I hope people realize it's a bit. Just in case. Today it's a bit. Yesterday was not a bit. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate you being here. CHGO Bears. Goodbye.
We all see